thousands of Oklahomans voted for me to come into office to try to turn our education system around.
They're running for their next office. They're trying to make political statements instead of focusing on the job at hand.
Did he direct these board members to lie about me?
I've yet to have a conversation with him.
And I've asked, and I've stopped asking because there's only so many times I'm going to, ask somebody the problem, they're going to tell me no.
I will always do what's best for our kids. I will always work with folks to get that done.
He's driving policy in Oklahoma and headlines around the country. But what is driving the state superintendent, and how much conflict is needed to affect the kind of change he wants? This morning on Oklahoma Chronicle, I'm sitting down with Ryan Walters one-on-one.
Stories beyond the headlines, connected to our state. Oklahoma Chronicle with Evan Onstadt.
Welcome to our first episode of Oklahoma Chronicle. I'm Evan Onstadt. TV newscasts, they're good at a lot of things, but in-depth discussion is not one of them. So every Sunday morning, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be sitting down with newsmakers and having deeper conversations about the people and the issues impacting your families as well as mine. And for this week, newsmakers don't get much bigger or more controversial than State Superintendent Ryan Walters, who's gone from teacher to education secretary to state superintendent to now a conservative voice so potent, I have people in other states hitting me up asking me, who is this Ryan Walters guy? State Superintendent, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me today.
I was thinking about our conversation, and it hit me that, I've been doing this for a pretty long time, more than 2 decades. You have to be the most polarizing public figure that I can remember on a local level in all that time. And when I say that, do you take exception to that, or is that something that maybe indicates that, hey, I'm doing exactly what I need to be doing?
No, look, I take it as I'm doing my job. So, when I came into office, Oklahomans were demanding change in education. They'd seen education rankings plummet to the bottom. They'd seen teachers' unions take over the classroom. They saw schools shut down during COVID against parents' wishes. They saw pornography in the classroom. They saw CRT in the classroom. They saw a national movement to indoctrinate kids. And so I came into office and we are going to disrupt that. We are going to get education back to the basics. We're going to take the teachers' unions out of our schools. We're going to put parents back in charge. And listen, I've run into a lot of political opponents there that, again, they defend the status quo, those special interests. So that doesn't surprise me, but I'm always going to answer to parents and the people that put me in office and get education back on track here in Oklahoma.
Your critics say you're too political, that you're more interested in not building consensus, but instead making demands, saying this is how it's going to be right now to get the type of change that you want. Do you think you are too political in this job?
No, I would completely reject that. What we're doing is taking politics out and getting back to the basics, getting a focus on academics. The people who politicize the classroom were the radical left-wing activists in the teachers union. You look at the things we've done, it's not what Ryan Walters wants, it's what the parents of Oklahoma not asked for, demanded. I can't tell you how many times on the campaign trail and how many times once in office I talked to parents and said, we've got to get all this garbage out of the classroom. Where's a patriotic education? Where's an education that puts the family first? Where's the Oklahoma values in our schools?
There are so many parents, though, that I've talked to personally, without even bringing it up, that say the opposite, that perhaps these are Republican conservative parents, but they say what I'm seeing too much is the wrong type of thing in the headlines. I'm seeing a state superintendent out there who's making these demands, who's shaking things up more than I am comfortable with, because I understand that you're talking to people that are saying exactly the types of things. But I'm telling you, there's other families out there that feel like things have been too chaotic in your term. How do you react to those parents?
Well, what I would tell you is we are disrupting the status quo. That is absolutely part of what we're doing.
You absolutely.
We are turning it on its head, and we're getting education back to where it should be. And the status quo has fought back every step of the way. Look at the reforms we've made, Republican, Democrat, or Independent. These should be common sense. Getting back to our founding documents, the Bible back in the classroom. I know this has been one that some media outlets, they go crazy on and try to exaggerate what's being done. Our kids have to know one of the founding documents in American history. It's the most cited book throughout American history, the most purchased book in American history. Obviously, it had an influence on our kids. We're not pushing religion on kids. We're saying When George Washington referenced the Bible, you're going to see that quotation. You're going to study it. You're going to decide for yourself. But we've seen our political opponents, the teachers' unions, we've seen some media outlets that run with wild stories and try to distract from it. And that's what we're going to continue to fight for parents and fight for common sense in the classroom.
But when you took that request for Bibles in the classroom to the state legislature, which is run, as you know, by a supermajority of conservatives, they did not give you the money to make that purchase. Did you think that that was rejecting what you were wanting to do, or was that something else?
No, I mean, listen, we make requests to the legislature. They have their role. I have my role as well. So we told them, look, there's several ways we can do this. This is one of them. And we made that proposal. We have continued to move Bibles into the classroom. We've got donations from all over the country because, again, people are excited in Oklahoma, but they're also excited around the country about a state that is really getting education back to its core mission, which is to create patriotic citizens to continue this great country, get a good academic success so that you can go get a great job. These should be common sense values, and I believe that they are. But again, the political opponents, the radical left, is going to continue to attack every bit of this because it undermines the power and their political agenda that they're driving.
You know, it's interesting because obviously you see yourself as a change agent. You are here maybe to crack some eggs, you know, if that means making the omelet sort of thing, you know. But I also know that there's people, you know, that say that, you know, for example, the free school lunches.
Sure.
Everybody would love to see kids have free school lunches. Your critics say, listen, if Ryan Walters really wanted free school lunches, then he should have started a while ago. He should have brought in the legislature. We should have built this consensus. Instead, you come out one day and you say, there will be free school lunches, and if not, I'm going to take away your accreditation. And that's not the way. That's a headline. That's not impacting change, the type of change that you say that you really want to do.
Hey, listen, these are the same critiques on President Trump, right? Hey, take your time, wait 4 years and do this. Parents are tired of waiting 2, 3, 4, 5 years. The reality is the legislature has allocated record amounts of funding for our schools. It's great, right? The money is there. It's time for schools to prioritize students, and that's what we've said. We've said we'll work with every school to develop this plan. More than 350 schools have done this. We can get there. You have a record amount of funding. We have a record amount of administrative growth. I have a real hard time finding the people who say, yes, we want a lot more school administrators, we want a lot more bureaucrats. What they tell me is, yeah, our great teachers, we want to make sure they're paid more. Absolutely, we can agree on that. Absolutely, we want to make sure resources are getting to kids, whether that's academically or their food. The reality is, we're here to defend the taxpayers. They have put a record amount of funding into our schools. It's time the schools prioritize appropriately so the kids have what they need.
Of course, the administrators, they push back on that. I don't want to get into litigation, but they say that, you know, they cap their spending. You know, by state law, they have to cap their spending on administration, that they don't come anywhere near that cap. I want to move on because I did want to ask you really quick about the anti-woke test, of course, that's gone out there through PragerU. I took the test. I passed it.
Excellent.
I then took the test again. I intentionally answered every question wrong, and I still passed it.
No.
Well, eventually, it's just to let you know, it's a multiple choice question, and it won't let you move on to the next one until you give it the proper answer, the answer it's looking for. And so at the end, in that way, you still get an email at the end of the day saying, congratulations, you passed the test. Is anybody tracking the results on these? And the teachers, are they saying, oh, this person answered 20 questions wrong?
Yeah. So look, we've already had over 20,000 people taking that test. So again, we've got a record amounts. We've never seen more interest in teaching in a state than there is in teaching in Oklahoma right now.
A lot of those people are just people wanting to take the test and see what's on it
look,
as well.
I don't doubt there's a bunch of clowns that are out there taking the test and messing with it.
Well, I'm one of them, all right? I'm the clown.
But 20,000 people have said, what is going on in Oklahoma? We want to take this test. It's a teacher certification test. We now have 20,000 people that we're emailing going, here's the next step. Let's take a look at your resume. Let's get you in the state. Here's our job openings.
So that test actually is leading to a next step.
It's going to be a record teacher recruitment.
It's not just a thing. It's not just a...
We now have 20,000 individuals from across the country who sat for a test on American civics, on the basics of biology, about teaching in an Oklahoma classroom. So we are reaching out to those individuals going, let's look at your teaching certificate. Let's see if we can get you in the state. So it's a record teacher recruitment, and the goal of the test has always been very clear. We're very transparent. Are you going to come in and teach Oklahoma standards, or are you going to bring in these left-wing woke nonsense? I mean, Gavin Newsom, it's absolutely crazy what they're doing in California. We just got a report today. Washington State telling pre-K and kindergarten teachers you have to teach there's 27 genders. This is absurd. The people of Oklahoma reject it. We want academics in the classroom. So listen, we've had record teacher recruitment with our signing bonus. We do merit pay. You can make up to $100,000 a year and be a teacher in Oklahoma. We've had record success bringing teachers in with this. But what we will not allow are teachers with left-wing agendas to come into our classroom and say, actually, we're here to create social justice warriors, not highly academic students.
I am encouraged to hear that record enrollment, that record interest. We have asked for, comparative numbers from your office.
Sure.
Haven't received it yet. I just wanted to point that out. But, a record enrollment and all that stuff would be fantastic for teachers. My last question before we let you go here, what's next for you? And when do you make that call? Obviously, your name has been thrown around for governor. Your name recognition in the state of Oklahoma is off the charts, especially compared to other candidates for statewide office. When do you make a decision on what's next?
Well, look, I mean, that's a tremendous compliment. I see people all the time ask me, tell me they want me to run. They want an America First candidate in this race, and they don't see one. And it is quite a compliment. But, we're looking at that. I'm going to always fight for Oklahoma kids in whatever role that I'm in, and don't have a decision on that yet. But it's quite a compliment to continue to hear it. But look, Oklahomans deserve the best representation possible. And listen, you've got to have someone that's going to further President Trump's agenda here in Oklahoma, and people are frustrated they don't see that yet.
What is going to be the factor on you deciding? What's the one thing that's going to get you either in that race or in another race here in Oklahoma?
Well, for me, there's a lot of prayer around what's next. There's a lot of just trying to figure out what way I can, my goal I was a teacher, and when I was state superintendent, how can I further help the kids of Oklahoma and put them in a better opportunity to be successful? So, just trying to weigh those decisions out. That's kind of where we're at with that.
All right. I'm sure we'll see you in the news in the near future. Ryan Walters, state superintendent, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And coming up right here, their early reviews are in on Oklahoma's new cell phone ban in schools. Coming up after the break, we're going to be joined by an expert panel to discuss what they are seeing in classrooms, what it's been like for students and teachers, and most importantly, how it's impacting learning. That's next on Oklahoma Chronicle.
Some of the stories I've received from some teachers are like, kids are actually coming in and introducing themselves to each other and, actually had to take up a note being passed. How cool is that?
So old school, is the new statewide cell phone ban already having an impact in our schools? Our reporting less than a week into this new school year suggests it's a real possibility. And to talk about this, we've put together a fantastic education panel today. Christy Van Horn is with us. She's the Assistant Superintendent of Supervision and Instruction at Deer Creek Public Schools. Jason Mackey here is the principal of Crescent High School. And also, I might add, the driver for one of our First Alert Storm Chaser teams here at KOCO, which we always appreciate your service there, Jason. And State Senator Ali Seifert of Claremore, the Vice Chair of the Senate Education Subcommittee, who authored the bell-to-bell no cell in school bill. Thank you, all three of you, for being here.
Thanks for having us.
We're barely into the school year, but we're already hearing some really positive feedback, and correct me if I'm wrong here, about what we've seen so far in our schools. The educators, tell you what, Jason, the principal, let me start with you right now, okay? Because, when it comes down to it, this was a big change, taking cell phones out of the hands of high school seniors who've been used to having a cell phone with them. What's the rollout been?
Well, the rollout has been fantastic. The start of the school year has been really positive. Of course, every year that's what we shoot for, is to start off strong with a positive school culture. And this has allowed students to engage in classroom activities, re-engage in the classroom, start off the year strong, and it's been really great so far.
No, it really has. You've actually already seen, you can tell a difference?
Absolutely. Kids are interacting with each other. Teachers' response is that they're able to start class and not have to worry about that behavior management to start. They're gaining 5 to 10 minutes of instruction back daily. And so they're able to work with, the students are working with each other, they're interacting at lunch. It's been overwhelmingly really great so far.
Well, that's great. And Christy, there at Deer Creek, I understand you're probably talking with teachers all day, every day.
Yeah.
What are your teachers telling you about what they're seeing?
Our teachers, kind of like Jason said, are just not seeing devices, honestly. I mean, just having a law behind this, I mean, it makes it really clear cut. Our kids showed up day one without their devices out. They just knew, and our administrators have done a great job too on day one, just announcing, okay, it's time for school to start kind of training the kids. Everybody put the devices away. We pushed out a lot of information over the summer to prep everybody for it, and so the news coverage was great as well. I mean, everybody just knew statewide this was coming. It wasn't a unique situation for one school or one district or one, community. And so we're all in this together. And so just training those kids, and the fact that the teachers just really aren't having to deal with it too much. They are able to focus on their lessons.
So if I'm hearing you right, having the law written by the senator here, that actually helped?
Yes.
Do you think that cut down on dissent and grumbles from kids and parents, probably, I'd point out?
Yes, for sure. I mean, because immediately this summer, when we started pushing out things, we would get a few replies. I actually had a student call me in my office, which I thought was fantastic, and just, hey, can we still have them out at lunch? Are there any exceptions to this? Kind of, advocating for the students. And I had such a great conversation with him. But I was able to say, you know what, buddy, this is the law. I mean, this is just like other things that are law, whether it's speeding and tobacco or anything else. Like, this is a law, and here's the why behind it, and here's why this is going to be a good thing. And they just, okay. I mean, you just can't argue with that.
Interesting.
You just can't argue with it.
All right, Senator Seffert, let me bring you in here, because is this kind of the thing that you were hoping to hear? Were you even expecting to hear this type of feedback this early?
I knew it was the right thing to do. I've been working on it for 2 years. I anticipated August maybe being a little bit more bumpy for me.
Yeah.
Some angry parents reaching out.
Have there been?
Honestly, no.
Not a single parent?
2 emails across the whole state of Oklahoma. But it has been overwhelmingly positive. I have even been surprised. I've been emotional a couple of times because I've seen friends who maybe don't know that I authored the bill, but they posted about what their child's experience was like. And so I got to see it from a parent's perspective. And so I've been a little teary-eyed on my couch on social media a couple times.
And for people who aren't super familiar, maybe you don't have a kid in school or you don't know the exact policy, it's not just no cell phones, and also other devices like AirPods and smartwatches and stuff like that, which I have. This would be hard to put away. But it's not just in the classroom setting, it's also during the passing periods. It's also during the lunchtime. If they're on campus, they're not allowed to have these devices. And I'm wondering if that has been a game changer as well, Jason.
Yeah, absolutely. I have talked to a couple principals in the area. They're from a same-size school district as my own. And one of the things that they saw was that it's helped with tardies as well. Because kids are not on their phones or using their AirPods in the hallways, they're going directly into the classroom because they don't have anything else to do in the hallway. So they're just going into class.
Heaven forbid they stop and talk to one another.
They're going right into class and they're engaging in their work, and it's helped cut back on tardies as well. So again, you're adding to instructional time. So if something's going to help students, it's being in the classroom.
So what's been the biggest hurdle so far when it's come to an enforcement thing? Because I'm sure it hasn't been completely smooth at the schools. That would be...
We have, in my town, we have had fantastic support, not only from our community, but from the students. And from the start of the rollout...
They're not testing this?
We have only had 4 turned in so far. And I even was talking to a few students saying, hey, are they getting really good at sneaking this past me, or am I not being as good at my job as I thought I was? And they said, no, they're keeping the phones up. And so we've only confiscated 4. 2 of them were just bad habits. They were just pulling out of the pocket, not even using them. It was just what they typically did. So
at Crescent, if you see a cell phone, does it go away right away?
Yeah, so we waited until we saw some of the other policies going out by the other schools so that we could kind of have the same message and backing with them. So we do take the cell phones. If they are out, we take the cell phones, and then it works down through a discipline system and involves parents when needed. But we haven't even gotten past to our first take. We haven't even got to a second one yet. So it's only been 4 so far. So it's been great.
And Christy, we were talking before this, and I know you said, because this is just a 1-year law. The way it got put in, it ended up being just a 1-year law. And I believe you said you'd love to see this become more permanent, right?
Sure. I mean, it has. I mean, as soon as we knew this was coming, we immediately this summer brought teacher leaders in, principals, and we thought, okay, how are we going to make this work? How is this going to roll out? Our policy for our district, we already, for most of our students, the phones were supposed to be off and out of sight, but we knew things like passing periods, lunchtime, for middle school and high school, they could have them out during lunch for sure for middle school and for high school, obviously, also during passing periods. So we thought, how are we going to handle that? What are some things we can do to educate our kids? How are we going to enforce it? What's going to be our response? We were kind of anticipating the issues that we would see, and so it's been a lot of work, and it's involved retraining. We've had conversations with parents. I mean, our school district is large, and so we have confiscated a few more than 4 phones, but still not too many, and most of the time it's just one, that first offender, they don't do it again. They're just checking to see how am I getting home for the day, or just something that's just habitual. And so we've worked on retraining our kids. We've got our principals and teachers that are getting games out at lunch. They're playing Uno. They're playing cards. I mean, they're having our lunchrooms are a lot louder than they used to be. But it's a good thing for sure. So we'd hate to see that be walked back.
Okay, well, tell you what, we're going to talk more. We're going to take a break here for our program, just so you know that there is web extra. We have an extra segment coming up. You can find that online on KOCO.com as well as our YouTube channel. But I just want to thank the 3 of you for being here. We appreciate it, and I'm really pleased to hear how well it's going right now. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
I find that God tends to have a way of working together the things that might not make sense to you right now.
From steering the bus to steering young lives, a local woman made a big career change to mentor students who need extra support. Coming up, Our Oklahoma. Each week on Oklahoma Chronicle, we're going to leave you highlighting the good in our state, what's working for the community, and the people who are making a difference. We call it Our Oklahoma. And today we're highlighting a local school bus driver who decided to become a school counselor. Kenny Boateng started her career in 2009. She had graduated from Mid-Del Schools, and she started as a bus driver. Her route went through some of the areas where kids need support the most. That's where she saw a big need.
So sometimes that looks like you have a senior in high school and their housing becomes unstable for whatever reason. They're living, 30 minutes, sometimes even an hour away, and we want to give them that opportunity to have that consistency in the world where there's so many things that are inconsistent.
Boateng wanted her impact to be felt beyond the bus, so she went to college, she got her master's, and is now one of 5 mental health specialists in the district. She says the bus route may have ended, but the wheels of hope keep on rolling. I love that. That is Our Oklahoma for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. We would love your feedback. Send your comments, your suggestions for topics you'd like to see us cover at OklahomaChronicle@KOCO.com. I'm Evan Onstadt. Have a great Sunday.